Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. And if you want to support us, you can leave a 5-star review and subscribe whatever podcast platform you listen on.
And if you do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of your review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and very exclusive Patreon. So if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And make sure you follow us. We're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. And you can visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us, learn about the show, book a reading with Dana, check out some charts and transcripts for select episodes, and more.
And more.
And more. So with that, Dana, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
And this was requested by Danny. So thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. We are excited to dive into this. And you might think, what do 35-year-old white millennial women know about this topic? Well, honestly, not that much, but we've done our research and we're here to tell you about the astrology, okay?
You don't actually really need to know a lot about an event to do the astrology of it.
I'm picking a side, though.
We're going to pick a side. We're going to pick a side. And to everyone listening to other astrology podcasts, they not like us. So,
yeah, that's true.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar are two of the biggest rappers right now. They have massive media attention on them. And then their rivalry escalated into a 10-song lyrical death match.
Hell yeah.
And while some critics praise the rivalry's spectacle and significance to hip-hop culture, others have criticized the rappers for some pretty serious low blows and some actually serious accusations as well. So let's learn more about them and their astrology.
Okay, so to kick things off, the first person that's involved in this is Drake, a.k.a. Aubrey Drake Graham. He's a Canadian rapper, singer, and actor. You might know him, like I do, as Jimmy from Degrassi.
Degrassi!
I never watched
Degrassi. I started watching that again. It's so unhinged, and I love it. But he's one of the best-selling artists of all time. He's also memed a lot. And people make fun of him sometimes for the way he dresses and the over-emotional lyrics about relationships that he uses. But let's talk about his birth chart. Also, I don't know if he's one of the best-selling artists of all time, but he's one of the best-selling artists of our time.
Of our time, yes.
Yeah. Well, all time is pretty short amount of time, right? I mean, it's only been
I don't know when they started. I don't think they were like, right, I don't think they've been like,
if you look up the song that was number one on the Billboard charts the day that Mitch McConnell was born, it's like not even a song. So that's how I know that music is basically within some people's lifetimes, you know, who are still alive right now. So Drake was born on October 24th, 1986 at 2:31 a.m. in Toronto, Canada. And he has a Scorpio sun, a Cancer moon, and a Leo rising, which is like,
oh my God, of course he has a Cancer moon.
Yeah, right.
Hey, him and me. Two sad boys and girls.
So he was born 6 days after a lunar eclipse at 24 degrees Aries, which people who are born around eclipses will endure extreme circumstances in life, which include extreme fame, extreme wealth, humiliation. And he also has the same rising degree as Trump and Lizzo, which is 29 degrees Leo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Two other people who have been in the news.
Trio.
Yeah.
A trio.
The real big three.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like how Laura Nash was bringing up, like, all the Leo risings are just getting, like, dunked on this year.
Including me.
Nina, including you.
Those are private secrets. We have boundaries on this podcast.
All right.
So his Scorpio sun's intense and scrutinized, keeps secrets, and also, endures scrutiny, but gets paranoid. Faithfulness and faith in general, or I should say trust, I guess, is a theme in life. And it's in his natal 4th house, so he's sheltered. It's like that line, I only love my bed and my mama, I'm sorry, is what I thought of. And his sun squares its ruler Mars, which is in Aquarius, in his 7th house. So this is real or manufactured opposition. The 7th house is relationships, but it's also your opponent. And so it's also seeing himself in relation to or in competition with others. It's probably good at focus with these fixed signs, especially Aquarius and Scorpio. And it's not like he can be driven by his competition. And then he has his Cancer moon, which is in domicile. He loves his mom. He's sensitive, a soft boy, understands feelings. In his 12th house, though, he can keep these feelings secret. And his own psyche can also be his own worst enemy at times, or his own feelings can be, which probably is tough, especially for a Scorpio sun. But the trine between his sun and moon means that there's harmony. It's like his sun and moon are working towards a common goal. So his emotions and his ideals are sort of, the objective and subjective are at least in communication with each other. He's definitely has a very strong intuition, and also his moon trines its exaltation ruler, which is Jupiter, domicile, and Pisces in his 8th house. So his 12th and 8th house will bring up things hidden to him. People also, they might compliment him behind his back, but meaning to his face. And he might have like benefactors. I don't really know. Although I guess a lot of probably child stars or might, I don't know. And then he's a Leo rising, so he loves to perform. He seeks attention and praise. He probably has a sense of humor. Or no, he definitely does. He's made jokes. He must get when he's walking around and getting filmed the Getting Ready With Me videos, and he's like drinking white wine in a floor-length cashmere like jacket gown. I think he must have a sense of humor. But yeah, he's ruled by his sun in Scorpio in his 4th house, so there's a lot of internality. The 4th house, of course, is hidden things. It's your inner life, or rich and probably intense. He's probably very much in his head. Also a family man. And then he has Venus retrograde and in detriment in Scorpio, which rules his Taurus midheaven. So affairs affects his life, like romantic affairs. He might be prone to self-sabotage or lacking confidence in relationships. This can also propel him towards success. He's a unique way of putting things, and he gets hurt in relationships. He might be toxic, surprised, and he needs to resist self-sabotage. So if he's listening, that's my recommendation for him. He's gotten pretty far, though. And his Mercury in Scorpio tightly conjunct his IC, so this is investing in real estate, rapping from his gut, moving homes a lot. His mind is oriented towards home and being rooted somewhere. And he just loves gossip and probably loves secrets. And then that Mars in Aquarius in his 7th house is really also sort of in line with the song, the energy of the song where he says, I got enemies, got a lot of enemies. Like Aquarius is the collective. So he probably does. But it's also sort of, it could be manufactured opposition too. But either way, it propels him forward. And he was born during a Jupiter-Saturn square. So this is someone who takes things to the next level. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, the Great Conjunction, is signals a new era and culture and history. And with the square, it's taking things, it's a new chapter, the next level. There's friction with how things started. So, and his is mutable too. So it's a lot of power in being able to change things and change culture.
Okay, I can't believe how Scorpio he is.
Right.
I feel like he is not, to me, that Scorpio.
Scorpio is Lily Pulitzer.
Yeah, I know you said that before.
But it's also, I don't know.
It's so funny to me, though, like that. Well, I also have a 4th house stellium, but I feel like he's like obsessed with saying he's from Toronto. So
good point.
That's like a big thing.
Yeah, he put his city on the map.
Yeah. I also wonder, too, he has his 11th house in Gemini and his Chiron's also there. You know how he's such a meme? Maybe it's that Cancer moon and the 12th where he has all these like hidden emotions that he needs to express somewhere. But I wonder if it's because his 11th house is Gemini. You know how he's like a mean teenage girl, but then also sometimes he comes out and is like trying to be a thug. Like, I don't know if that.
He's a water trine. His moon's in Cancer, his Jupiter's in Pisces. He has a Scorpio stellium with the Sun, Pluto, Venus, and Mercury. So he's intuitive. He's sort of like absorbing, right? Maybe it's sort of like that. And then they're also in his dark houses 4, 8, and 12.
Yeah.
So in some ways he belongs to the people, which also, I guess maybe also, like you said, having Chiron in his 11th could be sort of like appealing to people by making fun of yourself in some ways, or like being made fun of.
Yeah.
The 11th house being like the audience.
Yeah.
And it's opposite Uranus in his 5th house too. So maybe he uses that as inspiration for his art.
I didn't realize Drake was 38 years old.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Degrassi is old. Jimmy was older than us when we were watching him on TV.
I know, but for some reason, Drake is in my head always like 32. I feel like he doesn't look 38.
Well, that's what happens when you're a Leo rising and you have access to good skincare / skin treatments.
Yeah. Did he have ab implants? He's been accused.
There's a lot of people have said that he's gotten a lot of work done.
Decent work.
All right, let's move on to Kendrick. So We're talking about Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. Didn't know that was his real last name. I would also have dropped that too. But no shade to our Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth.
Shade Tammy Duckworth.
No shade to Tammy Duckworth, everyone. So Kendrick Lamar is an American rapper and songwriter from Compton, and he's regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time. He's even won a Pulitzer Prize for music. So I'm very curious. Dana, tell us what his birth chart's like.
Kendrick was born on June 17th, 1987 at 3:04 p.m. in Compton, California, and he has a Gemini sun, a Pisces moon, and a Libra rising. So the same sun and moon as Kanye, and maybe the same sun and moon as Tupac, but I think Tupac probably has an Aries moon. So that really, I mean, those are two of the greatest other rappers of all time. And okay, so his Gemini sun, he's a clown. He's a way with words. He's quick on his feet. He's able to change as soon as he gets new information and recalibrate, like, you know, in an instant.
I was going to say that's evidenced by how he approached the writing of the song Feud that happened.
So his sun rejoices in his natal 9th house. This makes him iconic, spiritual. He is a global citizen. And it's ruled by Mercury, which is exactly conjunct Mars in his natal 10th house. And this is going to make him sensitive, known for having a sharp tongue that really cuts to people's emotions. He's going for the jugular cancer. You know, it's the mother, but it's also emotion. So it's like, I'm going to eviscerate you. And he was born 3 days before a Mercury retrograde, which enhances mercurial themes in his natal chart. So also he's a sun opposite Uranus and Saturn, and his sun is conjunct Chiron. So he's a master of surprise, a keen sense of timing. And also he feels wounded and therefore is good at wounding with Chiron in the mix. And then he has his Pisces moon. So it's about music and feelings, maybe being sad boy too. He needs music and art to live. He's intuitive and has powerful emotions. It's in his natal 6th house. So he needs to work to maintain homeostasis. He's a chip on his shoulder for feeling subjugated. That's what the 6th house is, which is great. I feel like that's probably a great asset in his rapping. And it's ruled by Jupiter, which is an Aries in his 7th house, conjunct his descendant. So he's good at collaboration and cooperation. And he likes novelty, probably is good at using novelty, especially with his Gemini sun. And he has that Libra rising. So his life and perspective are oriented towards relationships, and he's diplomatic until he isn't. Or I feel like he's probably good at getting people together against someone else. And Drake is someone whose chart says that people will be against him. And his rising's ruled by Venus and Gemini in his 9th house. So like I said, he sees himself as a citizen of the world. He needs to work towards something greater than himself. And it can't just be money. It has to be something that he believes in. And aligned maybe with his personal ideals, philosophy. And then also that's just like him wearing the crown of thorns, having Libra rising ruled by Venus and Gemini in the 9th. That's so like, I'm going to wear a crown of thorns now, like Jesus. And then his Pluto stationed retrograde 30 days after he was born. So around age 30 in his progress chart, that would have stationed. And that's the summer he dropped Damn, which I think is interesting.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
that's cool.
Just because, in case anyone who's listening knows him, you should tell him that. Jupiter stationed retrograde and Saturn stationed direct both 62 days after he was born. So age 62 will also be majorly significant for him.
Interesting. Him and Drake are both some watery bitches.
Yeah.
Like they both have a lot of Cancer, a lot of Pisces. Pisces makes sense for both of them, like musicians, artists. But I think especially Kendrick is very much about speaking about ideals, the culture. A lot of his lyrics are about what's going on in culture and taking a political stance. So I feel like that makes sense to have your sun and Venus in the 9th house in Gemini. It's like you're going to talk about these things. And also I feel like Pulitzer Prize, it's the house of publishing. So writing, but very cool. So before this lyric feud began, Kendrick and Drake collaborated quite a few times. Kendrick had a spot on Drake's album Take Care. And Take Care was a really big deal because, you know, Drake came out with an album before this and it was like, oh, wow, Wheelchair Jimmy has an album. But Take Care really showed critics that Drake wasn't a fluke in the hip hop industry. Like he actually had talent. And Drake featuring Kendrick at the time gave Kendrick a larger platform because Kendrick was still coming up in the mainstream. So they collabed there. They also were together on a song called Buried Alive interlude, Fucking Problems, which banger
I
forever.
love that song.
And Poetic Justice, which another great one.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
I was looking on Reddit, and apparently Drake now has beef with 6 of the 8 featured artists on Take Care.
What?
The
Yeah.
Weeknd, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, apparently he accused him of sleeping with his girl.
my God,
so it's The
those
Weeknd,
two.
Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, and now Kendrick.
I feel like he did. I think the Weeknd's, I think their synastry makes me feel like he did. I think the Weeknd might be
Interesting.
a Cancer rising with his moon in Scorpio in the 5th, which would indicate he might have slept with his friend's girl.
Interesting. But as Drake got more popular, he invited Kendrick and A$AP Rocky to be the opening acts for his Club Paradise tour back in 2012. So what's their synastry like?
So they have a lot of synastry that indicates collaboration and like working together well, and also some that, doesn't. So Kendrick's Mercury, Mars, and Midheaven are in Cancer in Drake's 12th house, conjunct his moon. So the Mercury's, words, communication, Mars is war, and the Midheaven is Kendrick's legacy, and it's in Drake's 12th house of hidden enemies. So he is Drake's enemy. He's exposing Drake, and he can get under his skin and into his mind. And with it conjunct his moon, that just enhances these facts. It affects Drake's homeostasis, making him want to isolate or retreat and recalibrate. And Kendrick's ascendant in Libra is conjunct Drake's south node. So Kendrick is the catalyst for Drake's demise, and their destinies are intertwined. They have nodal synastry, so this might not be the last we hear of them. They might even make it up. I don't know. And Drake's north node is conjunct Kendrick's descendant in Jupiter. So they, again, actually, this is great synastry for friends or, lovers to collaborate well together. What if I just started the conspiracy theory that they were actually dating and that's what it's all about?
I feel like 7th house is also enemies too.
Yeah, it's both. Kendrick it also could just be 2 people working on a song together. But yeah, Kendrick might always sort of see Drake as the opponent. And Drake's north node enhances Kendrick's Jupiter, so his star power and popularity rises as he takes down Drake. From taking care to taking down, the Kendrick, Lamar, and Drake story. Okay.
Well, I mean, Drake, too, also really helped get Kendrick in the public's eye. Like, he put him on Take Care, which was an important album. He took him out on tour when it was a really big deal for Drake to be out.
He's helping him out still. Like, right? I mean, his existence is, which is what I wonder how Kendrick feels about that. Kendrick's moon is conjunct Drake's Jupiter and Pisces, so they both have Jupiter synastry on both sides. It's another aspect indicating they could be friends, and maybe also that Drake could forgive Kendrick. But also, there's big emotions. Jupiter is the planet of largesse and in abundance. It increases things. And Drake's Jupiter on Kendrick's moon will make his emotions feel bigger, magnified. And then Kendrick's Venus in Gemini trines Drake's Mars in Aquarius. So this is great for collaborating. But with Drake's natal Mars in his 7th house, it could also be that they're making art because of each other, not with each other. It's sort of like they're still making art together or not really together. They're collaborating, just not officially. I guess not, but you know what I mean. So, and then Drake's Uranus is conjunct Kendrick's Saturn and Sagittarius. So it makes it irritable. Drake irritates Kendrick and also makes him want to work harder. It's motivating in a way that's unique.
Their synastry is very cool, especially the nodal stuff. But I feel like even if it's someone that's not your enemy, someone who you have 12th house synastry with is always just going to get inside your head.
That person knows things about you that you don't know about yourself. So they can enlighten you to it, and it can be in public or private. Usually it's private, hopefully. But
yeah, usually that's like a good collaborator, but this doesn't seem like that for them right now.
Yeah. And also, too, with the Jupiter stuff, I wonder if there'll be some lessons for both of them
good point.
So going back to how we got here, the year is 2013. Kendrick is getting more popular. And he started to call people out on his features when he was on other people's tracks, like on Big Sean's Control. One of the people he called out was Drake, and this is an edited verse, but he said, "I'm usually homeboys with the same dudes I'm rhyming with, but this is hip hop, and them dudes should know what time it is." And that goes for Jermaine Cole, Big Crit, Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mill, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Jay Electron, Tyler, Mac Miller. Oh my God, Mac Miller, R.I.P. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you dudes. And after he said that, he was clarifying like the verse wasn't meant to be taken seriously. It was a friendly competition. Like, I'm just calling you out.
Well, I think he admits it in the verse,
Oh,
I got love for all of it, but I'm trying to. But the fact that he had to clarify it was the beginning of people not knowing
read
comprehension.
or listen.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else responded to that, but Drake responded, of course. And he said, I didn't really have anything to say about it. It just sounded like an ambitious thought to me. That's all it was. I know good and well that Lamar's not murdering me at all in any platform. So when that day presents itself, I guess we can revisit the topic.
That's some Scorpio.
And revisit the topic we are
some like
right now.
low-key Machiavellian. That's the Cancer moon being very subtle, a little passive-aggressive, and the Scorpio sun being like, you are not more powerful than me.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was some weirdness in the air for a while. Then 2023 comes around and J. Cole and Drake collab for the first time in a while since 2013 on a song called First Person Shooter.
And J. Cole had a verse that really set this new beef in motion. And he said, love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot? That's Kendrick. Is it Aubrey? That's Drake. Or me? We the big three. Hey, big three. We the big three, like we started a league. But right now, I feel like Muhammad Ali.
That's interesting. Maybe I'm not really up on hip-hop as much as I used to be, but I don't really think of J. Cole.
Well, I mean, we saw J. Cole at Lollapalooza,
Yeah.
but right now, those three, J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, are known as like the three top artists in hip hop right now.
Good to know.
Then Kendrick Lamar fired back with a verse on Future and Metro Boomin's We Don't Trust You album on a song called Like That. And he said, think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD, mother blank, the big three blank. It's just me.
I like that these rappers are putting their Cancer placements to use, which is sort of like, I'm a victim.
Yes. There's a lot of big victim energy here.
Yeah.
Usually it's just that's Pisces men, but right now it's all male water signs.
But after that verse, everybody was like, oh, shit. And the internet was ablaze. Everyone was talking about it. So what happened when We Don't Trust You was released, Dana?
This is March 22nd, 2024, and the sun was in Aries, the moon was in Leo. There was a Libra rising in LA and a Scorpio rising in Atlanta. And that's the two places that I think it would have been posted from. And the sun in Aries and moon in Leo, this is needing attention and getting it, passion and dominance, right? It's sort of coming out strong. And the sun is exalted in Aries, so it's very solar. It's very much, look at me, I'm the most powerful one. I'm obliterating the competition with my light. And so the moon in Leo is opposite Mars in Aquarius, which was at 29 degrees, the final degree. So there's a lot of intensity and a lot of attack dog mode or attack mode. So yeah, it's attacking someone from the stage, literally, the moon in Leo. And the moon in Leo is conjunct Drake's ascendant. So this is about him, especially on the last day of his natal Mars return in his 7th house of opponents. And the lunar apogee was on March 23rd. So this is when the moon is the farthest away from Earth that it gets. And it happens once a month. It's a way to make an impact over a long period of time. So if you want something to last, the lunar apogee is a good time to do it. The moon is moving slow, but it's deliberate. And you can tell because the moon will be exactly conjunct Lilith. And it has to be true Lilith. And then Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn offends and Venus makes art, and it's on Kendrick's moon. So he's emotionally invested and he's out there. He's doing well. And Mercury and Chiron are in Aries conjunct the North Node. And so Mercury is communication, Chiron is wounding, and the North Node adds gravity and significance. It's just for verbally assaulting someone.
I was just Googling Kendrick Lamar's height.
Is he short?
He's 5'7".
Nope, he's 5'5".
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm taller. Anyway, this is when the sea of diss tracks begin. So Drake releases Push-Ups and he mocks Kendrick's small stature, which he's 5'5", notably his foot size with the cover art and his deal with Top Dog Entertainment. Drake also took the opportunity to take jabs at Rick Ross, The Weeknd, Metro Boomin, and Future, and basically anyone who was on Future and Metro Boomin's album.
Yeah, he took that pretty hard.
I liked that album.
Good. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you like it. Then later in April, Drake doubled down on making fun of Kendrick with another song called Tailor Made Freestyle. And in it, Drake expressed his disappointment in Kendrick because he didn't yet respond to Drake's diss track. And he even cited the release of Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, as the reason why Kendrick didn't put anything out
Can
yet.
I say that's such a Leo rising thing to do, to be like, I said something and you haven't responded yet.
Yeah. Dana would know. And you may be asking what's up with the Taylor reference, but some musicians won't put out music when Taylor does because the Swifties are so feral. So if you put out music, it will get totally overshadowed on the charts. So a lot of people just wait to do anything.
Yes. Kendrick finally does answer, and it's savage. It's a song called Euphoria. It's 6 minutes long, which everybody was like, oh my God. And in the song, Kendrick calls out Drake for using the N-word. He questions his fashion sense, his hip-hop merit, and a lot of other things.
Très sauvage. And everyone was like, okay, here it comes. And a big thing Kendrick is pushing back on, he thinks that Drake uses his race when it's advantageous to him and not advantageous for the community. So that's big right there.
Yes. And then a few days later, Kendrick releases another diss track called 616 in LA. And this time he says Drake has moles dishing out dirt on him and stabbing him in the back.
Way to get into a Scorpio's head, a Scorpio and Cancer moon. What the hell do you mean by that?
And then Drake comes back with Family Matters, and this one calls out the alleged fractured relationship with Kendrick's fiancée, Whitney Alford. And he says that she's cheating on Kendrick. I mean, that's his fiancée, the mother of his 2 children. That's pretty messed up. Then Drake disses other rappers again.
Then Kendrick comes back with Meet the Grams, and he's like, well, if we're talking about families now, he releases the song the very next day, and Kendrick calls out Drake for being a deadbeat father and also alleges that Drake is hiding a child.
I like
he has a secret child.
I really appreciate that. It doesn't even matter if that's true. It's just so funny to say.
Kendrick also says that Drake has issues with alcohol, gambling, and claims there are pedophiles inside the OVO camp, and that's Drake's brand and the name for his crew.
He also lists off all of Drake's alleged lies, like lies about his son, that people ghostwrite for him, that he's had cosmetic surgeries. And from this, there was like a track that was made by someone that got put on SoundCloud that's called BBL Drizzy. And it's a song that's just like BBL Drizzy, BBL Drizzy. And it's like an old school sounding song that people sample, like anyone could sample it, but it's all about how Drake has gotten to be.
That would be so boozy. But I could see it. So then that same day, Kendrick puts out another song, Not Like Us, which is probably one of the better ones. And this really focuses on the whole pedophile. And the accompanying artwork for the track shows an aerial view of Drake's mansion outside of Toronto with red sex offender symbols placed on the home. And one of the lines was certified lover boy, certified pedophiles.
So
Mic
aggressive.
drop.
So aggressive. And Kendrick's diss blazed the internet and the charts. Not Like Us debuted at #1 on the Hot 100. And everyone was like, wow, you were a king. You destroyed Drake. Congrats on your success. So what was going on when Not Like Us was released?
This was May 4th, 2024, and the sun was in Taurus and the moon was in Aries. And just the first time there was a Scorpio rising in Atlanta and a Libra rising in LA. Mm-hmm. And so the Aries stellium, there's an Aries stellium with the moon, Mars, the North Node, Mercury, and Chiron. And so moon conjunct Mars, once again, there's airways. So let me start over. Okay, so we have Aries energy in this huge stellium, and that's attack dog energy. So the moon is conjunct Mars. The moon was opposite Mars when We Don't Trust You dropped. So the moon-Mars cycle factors into this feud, which makes sense because the moon is the mood, the present moment, and Mars is war. And also, of course, the moon is emotions. And so when you're doing this, you're trying to get in someone's head and into their mind, touch the moon. And it sextiles Pluto in Aquarius, which doesn't require, means, okay, so sextiles are helpful aspects. If you put out effort, you move forward or you move towards your goal. And so it doesn't really require too much effort to eviscerate Drake in public, especially when you consider the fact that this Pluto is in Drake's 7th house of opponents. And then Mercury is conjunct Chiron. So Mercury retrograded in Aries in April. So Mercury, right when this dropped, was almost at the same degree that it transited when We Don't Trust You came out. So this fight can be, it's possible it was contained to that Mercury cycle, but also Mercury conjunct Chiron is just using your words with the intent to injure or offend. And then there's a little Taurus stellium too with the Sun, Venus domicile, and Jupiter and Uranus. So Taurus energy seeks security and Uranus destabilizes, and Venus and domicile drives the ship. And then we add Jupiter. There's sort of a sense of entitlement in taking someone down, I think. I mean, I don't want to say entitlement, but it's just sort of like attacking someone's security. Uranus destabilizes in the sign that needs security the most. It's like you thought. Also, this all opposes Drake's Scorpio stellium, so it's really destabilizing for him and people coming at him, and he doesn't see it coming, even though he asked.
Yeah, right. Well, it's also interesting. Obviously, all the Aries energy, Mercury and Aries, we are just going after people for the jugular. We've talked about this before. Venus is like pretty stuff, but it's also just war when you're fighting for an ideology. So I feel like, again,
values,
for security,
bring values into it.
Yeah, they're like
you're a pedophile.
Yeah, they're bringing in values. They're talking about their family. They're talking about the security. One of the photo, like this cover art was Drake's house.
Yeah,
an aerial shot of Drake's house.
And Venus squares Pluto, so it's real power moves in that direction.
So Drake comes back with The Heart Part 6. And in this song, Drake addresses all the allegations Kendrick made and said he doesn't have a secret daughter, which is random because I think Kendrick just said it was a kid, didn't specify it was a daughter.
I think there were rumors
he was
that it was a daughter.
Oh, okay. He doesn't have a secret daughter, and that he was the one who baited Kendrick into receiving fake intel about the alleged child in the first place.
Okay, he's
That's
Scorpio.
so funny.
I feel like he would do
God,
that.
he
Like
would
to just
do that.
plant weird lies to see what happens.
That's really funny. I
Oh my God. But Drake's response at this track really divided fans. It was pretty meh in comparison to Not Like Us. And, people overall were like, oh, in this rap feud, you are the loser. We're going to see what's going on with Drake's transits on the Patreon because it seemed like he's having a little bit of a fall from grace, both because of this and because there's allegations that he's a culture vulture and he just hops on trends to be popular. So,
I mean, yeah. He kind of is. So anyway, it's very clear Drake is a loser of this battle. But to rub some salt in Drake's wounds, Kendrick performed Not Like Us 5 times at a concert. And everyone was like, okay, like, we get it. And people kind of saw it as his
Are you okay?
His
water
victory
sign men.
His victory lap.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You don't need to do it 5 times, but whatever. He even makes a video for it. He considers this like, that's it. There's no more. I win. And you know what? He's right.
Yeah, he definitely won.
So it seems right now the rap feud has been settled, at least for the time being, with Kendrick being the victor. So Dana, what are some predictions you have for them?
Okay, so they're both in their Saturn squares. They both have Saturn and Sagittarius. So it's a turning point for both of them. It's a pivot from their Saturn returns in Sagittarius, which occurred from 2015 to 2017. So it's about growing up. And something interesting is that Mars is the hardest planet in a day chart. And then Saturn is the hardest planet in a night chart. And Drake has a night chart, so he's sort of losing. And Kendrick has a day chart. So it's that's interesting to see that part, at least in terms of how their Saturn squares are going. They're also both their nodal returns. So they're both, these are really big turning points in their life, and this will mark them for the future. I think Kendrick's popularity is going to continue to rise and maybe make him more, I know he's mainstream already, but sort of make that more mainstream. And I think Drake is going inward and changing his style musically, and maybe he'll even get married or have a significant relationship in 2026, 2027. And so, Drake's exact nodal return was January 7th, 2024. He was born, again, during a mutable Jupiter-Saturn square, like I already said, and we're currently experiencing this long-term transit. So that's like whenever a significant outer planet transit happens that is also in someone's chart, those people usually experience changes with it or, significant life events during that time. And Saturn's on his natal Jupiter in Pisces. So it's sort of like losing faith, losing, fortune and favor with the public. And then Jupiter is squaring his natal Jupiter, which could make him sort of derive inspiration from new places or from this sort of losing popularity. And then this is the really big one that I focused on. His progressed new moon is in Sagittarius on March 27th, 2025. And so his progressed full moon in Taurus was in January 2010, and it was exactly conjunct his natal midheaven. And that's when he was rising to stardom. And so now he's at a midpoint, which is a culminating period in the progressed lunar cycle. And the progressed new moon is in his natal 5th house, which would suggest he's going to explore more passion projects. If he's making music for fans before, then he'll be making music for himself now. But first he has to figure out what that means to him, because it's a new moon. So it's a moonless sky. There is really no guidance. You're waiting for the light to come, but there's a new beginning. And he could also devolve into degeneracy for a bit. Like if Kendrick was right that Drake is a bit too much into substance use, then the 5th house would perhaps exacerbate this, or it would be turning a new leaf with regards to like pleasure and leisure. But the new moon is conjunct his natal Saturn, so while it could suggest punishment, it's also maybe learning lessons and like growing up. But it could also be related to his kid or secret kids, who's to say. And then all of this could start when the progressed moon enters Sagittarius on August 17th, 2024, which is just next month. And then the change in style or image could be supported by Uranus squaring his natal ascendant, which perfects July 2025, November 2025, and April 2026. And it coincides with Jupiter crossing his natal moon in Cancer, which is in his 12th house, which is about like, it's usually bringing you, I'm excited for the 12th house Jupiter transit. It's about spirituality. It sort of soothes your wounds and you can sort of heal from things. I also think maybe he'll get married, and if he does, it'll be summer 2026 when the North Node's on his natal descendant, or have a significant relationship. So yeah, with Saturn on his natal Jupiter and Pluto squaring his natal Sun, though, he's probably not having a great time. And Jupiter squaring his natal Jupiter, though, could aid in finding inspiration through that and sort of maybe using opposition for healing. And then Kendrick's also having his progressed new moon next year, so that's pretty cool. His perfects on May 25th, 2025. And it's in Leo in his 11th house. So this is part of the reason I think he's going to go maybe more mainstream. The 11th house is about popularity, and the Leo is like the king. So that'll just maybe make him sort of like the king of all of them, or whatever he said. And that could start when his progressed new moon enters Leo on March 13th, 2025. And he's also in his nodal return in Saturn square, and his nodal return perfects August 3rd, 2024. And this just means that you're at a turning point. You're growing up. You're on the path. You're putting yourself on the path you want to be on, and changing modes. And then Saturn's conjunct his natal moon, and Jupiter is conjunct his natal Venus and Sun. So this Jupiter Saturn square really, even though he doesn't have it in his natal chart, it's really affecting his natal placements. It's on his natal Sun and Moon. So he's probably inspired to work harder, and he might feel like, I think we can get a lot of good work out of him during this time, the next year or so. And then on March 8th, 2024, his progressed moon, never mind. And then his progressed moon is conjunct his natal midheaven on November 22nd, 2024. So that could also be sort of a big time for his career. Maybe he'll come out with something cool then. And maybe it would be extra emotional.
We don't have to wait till he's 62 years old.
No, that'll just be a big year for him.
But this is also a big year for him.
We get many big years in life.
He's won the mother effing rap battle of
2024, a year where
of 2024.
It's like just, it's exactly how it should be happening. Washed up millennials should be rap battling in 2024.
Hell yeah.
We're all in our mid-30s.
I don't know. We all need something to take our mind off of.
Also they're both theater kids. Can we just say that? I just need to say that. Both
yes, they are theater kids.
So I think this is the most exciting thing that could happen to a theater kid. So good for you, Kendrick.
Good for you. Good for you,
my
theater
fellow Gemini.
kiddos.
Which, yeah, of course he's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that synopsis. So there you have it. Kendrick is the winner, and we'll see you on the Allegedly Astrology Patreon to talk more about what the F is going on with Drake right now. So with that, I'm Elise.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Allegedly Astrology.
Bye.
They not like us. They not
A
like us.
minor.
A minor.